Brothers and sisters, I am Geeia Ariati, and I am a quantum energy conduit. And it is a delight to be able to express from this space an identity that has some level of expressing that which I am. And this video is specifically around me expressing that which I am, that which I hold, and that which I have known to come to be, and how I can be in service to you and humanity. And the awareness here is that I have moved through many labels, many archetypes, and many different processes to come to this point. And there is not one label that expresses that which I am, because I work through many layers. As a quantum energy conduit, I work in the masculine, in the mind, the true mind, but also by using the separate mind and the identification of the ego construct and not denying the ego story. And so the level of psychology or how the brain works or the human condition is a big part of my work. And it is also a big part of how we start to merge our spiritual connection, our soul or our essence to our human experience. We cannot be in one nor the other. And so I not just work in the mind, I work in the physicality, I work in the emotional body, I work in the somatics and looking at the somatic programming, conditioning, alignment, as well as the spirit or the soul, the aspect of consciousness, which we would call source energy, or the beginning of allowing that to come in through the intuitive guidance of that which we are. And so that would be the trinity of what is expressed, and bringing and merging cosmic into matter, or the cosmic consciousness of all that is, into the human experience, because we are not separate. And so in the awareness of all of the layers, not to mention the past, present, and future, and different parallel expressions of frequency and vibration, and how that all comes to play using energy signatures to make sense of why a specific experience is, why a specific feeling is, why this pattern continues to show up in my experience, I am able to emerge and see the one energy signature that fits the source directive and the thought form. So the reason that I'm expressing that which I have just explained to you is because I am not like anyone else. I am not like any other healer that you will ever come across, and that I can guarantee, because of the level of evolution that I have cultivated lifetime after lifetime, but then also solidified in this experience in the now. I don't even resonate to the word healer. I do not resonate to the word high priestess. I do not resonate to the word oracle. I do not resonate to the word coach, mentor. I do not resonate to the word facilitator. I use all of these languages, all of these identities to try and express that which I actually am, which is far greater, far greater. And the only way to really see or know what I have the capacity to guide through me for you is to experience it. And to listen to your own source guidance and those messages, those resonating frequencies, and allow for any fear programs to come up, and then also to let them go and to follow the body's awareness and let that guide. So in short, I work through frequency. So frequency being an interpretation of light. I use light technology. Light technology is not explainable to the human mind. Light technology requires multiple language layers, science, physics, biology, neuroscience, and the ability with the brain's function to even make sense of the consciousness of that which I work in. I work where light is then transcribed into word, and word then creates a vibrational resonance and a expression of feeling. And there is a hierarchy and stages of evolution to create a holistic modality to assist people to find this within themselves. And the truth is, at this current point in time, there is a minute few that have transcended the ego construct. And you wouldn't even know who they be. Because from the ego, you see through your programs, your conditioning, your identity, and from the sum of experiences that have created that construct to begin with, and you cannot see beyond that. You may be able to sense, you may be able to feel, you may be able to receive your own source guidance, but in truth, you cannot meet it from the ego's perspective of what you might believe transcendence to be. Not to mention the layers upon layers upon layers of what transcendence is and ascended mastery. It is an ever-evolving spiral where greater and greater awareness is brought into what you have the capacity to see through your human lens, and the ability to sense, feel, and remember and come into understanding through other perspectives of experiencing creation. Now, to assist the human condition being that of the suffering loop, the human conditioning is entrapment of mind. The human condition is built up on thought that has created reality inwardly and outwardly, and the separation and the disconnect using this thought to compartmentalize. And yet we require the ability to compartmentalize so that we can read the energy signatures of different experiences so that we can surrender and yield. And so the mind is not the creator of suffering. It is the ability to become sovereign from the mind in the very construct that created the suffering. And the majority of beings do not have the capacity to understand or understand the layers of this because it is so multidimensional. So even if you think that you have worked with someone like myself, even if you think that you are going through a process or experience similar to me, even if you think that you know what it's like to be in my being, you do not. And I also do not fully ever know what it is that you're experiencing. I may have a perspective. Source may allow for me to really zoom out and see all of the layers at play, but I do not know what you know. I do not know who you be and the medicine you hold. I could experience a taste of it through you, but I will never be able to embody or become the essence of your authentic self. And so the authentic self is what we seek. In spirituality, we are seeking authenticity. In spirituality, we are seeking sovereignty or freedom. In spirituality, we are seeking fulfillment or love. This is union, divine union with self. And union is met when you accept light and dark are not separate from each other. Where you accept that where something exists, something also does not exist. where you accept that as above, so below, where you accept and start to merge polarity into a point of oneness. Oneness is neutral. It is transcendence of dualistic thinking, whilst also recognizing and realizing that you are never really free from duality. The very existence that we live in is a reality of separation. But that is where the freedom is. The freedom is in the recognition that I am separate and yet I am one with all. And so the process that I know I hold and that no other does is because Source gifted it to me. It is my unique medicine, the medicine of taking people through a purification temple, an initiation of each chakra system, of where we read the construct of mind, of all time-space dimensions, and the energy signatures that have created an idea that you are separate from Source, and that you cannot be all things here in this beautiful reality of Earth. The Baraka process has 7 main initiate phases. That is the initiation of opening to a thought. So the opening of a possibility, the activation. The activation sits within each chakra system. Each chakra system has a sum of narratives, energetic signatures, templates, belief systems, holographic mimicry, implanted thought forms, layers upon layers of devices, infiltration. You cannot get out of consciousness by not using the consciousness that created it. To reverse an inversion, you must see the inversion and then see its counterbalance point. It's the descension-ascension process, in which DAC process is constructed and built around. To release yourself from entrapment, you must see why you're trapped. To release yourself from control, you must see why you want to control. To release yourself from the idea that you are God and the imprisonment of seeking that, you must realize you are also not God. But not just from cognitive awareness, not just from logic, not just from intellect, not just from the amount of books you've read, podcasts you've listened to. It must be experienced. And so you are required to have those profound connections with Source, in which eventually you are the profound connection to Source. And those profound moments, those enlightened, heightened, ecstatic moments no longer exist, because you are not peaking into ascension and you are not plummeting into descension. You are at the true north. You sit at a point of vibratory resonance where Source is always present. You are always conscious. You are pure creation in movement. You are stillness in form. That is a tangible process that can be embarked upon. To step out of the idea that you cannot be this, and to know that it's possible, and to start the process of embodying it through mind. through strategy, through steps. Spirit, source, is not logical to human mind. And yet, it is very logical. The logic is that everything in this reality exists on some level in further realities, further consciousness. So if there is a logical way to do something in the human experience, when you start to see the illogical reason source is guiding you to something, you realize when you move through the process how logical it actually is. Yet, to really become this, you have to come to a point of understanding polarity. To dominate this reality, you must transcend polarity. You can start to work with every limitation that is available when you start to see in totality the truth of polarity. You work with universal law to transcend universal law. It is an exciting, powerful, and enlightening process, because everything that you thought was true and real becomes an awareness that the interpretation of your thought was inaccurate, and yet when you see it from the eyes of God and from a place of conscious union, it is also truth. So everything that you have experienced has been a lie, and yet when you see through the conscious mind, it is also true. And so accepting life and the divine plan, you can work with what is available to actually design your own dream reality. Because you are not separate from Source, and Source will guide you. Because what Source guides is what is actually desired. Everything that Source will bring through you is you. So what you truly want at the depths of your inner being is exactly where you are being guided if you listen. But are you listening? That is another aspect of mastery. And so I have mastered listening. And even in the moments where I think I'm not listening, I've come to a point where the listening has been stronger than the doing, than the creating. So Source, in my experience, is the guide. Even if my human interpretation of that at that point in time cannot quite make sense, that Source is guiding me and I am not. The tipping point for me has shifted. And so everything I do is Source guided. Because I realized that the separate mind was that not of Source. The ego is not God. It is the very epitome of Satan. Separation at its highest form. And there is no in-between. You either sit in separation consciousness or you sit in pure connected consciousness. The bridge between when you can come into one or the other will be different, and the way that you see the world will also change. And yet, you have a moment of choice in every moment to choose separation consciousness or Source consciousness. No different at any point, no matter the situation, no matter the experience, no matter the thought, you have connection, disconnection. That is the simplicity. And yet to get to that simplicity, you must move through the complexity that has created you. Because at this point in time, in our reality, in our history, we are not coming into this experience and staying in pure source connection. We are becoming separate. We are being influenced by the 7 deadly sins, or the separation consciousness that is the ego construct. 7 deadly sins, 7 chakras. It all links up. Every single possible theory that you have ever heard will guide you to the truth. So these 7 sins and these 7 chakras and these constructs are just one aspect of energy that can be worked with to allow source back into the fullness of your connection of being. That is possible. There are many that have come to this, the teachers, the mentors, the gurus. And perhaps you have even come to this at some point on your journey in this reality. There is not one being that has not had a moment of being pure creation. So we have all met a state of transcendence. We have all met samadhi or enlightenment. How long we stay in that level of receivership depends on what we're choosing. And so my path, my purpose, my source directive is to be the bridge between the separation consciousness and the pure creation consciousness, or the Holy Grail. This is big work. And it is work that I can guarantee I can walk a being over that bridge and into sovereign truth of their authentic self. And yet, it is not enough for me to say, I know I am this, I know I can do this because I am it. You have to see this within me. You have to be open to the slightest possibility that although what I'm saying may seem so outrageous to your ego, that there's a part of you that knows. And in that knowing, that's the peace you hold on to. That's the peace that will gift you everything that you ever desired. And that I've done the groundwork for you. That you don't have to trial and error. You do not have to meet contrast over and over to find the strategy. You do not have to heart break yourself to remember unconditional love, because I've done that and I can show you another way. And this is why it is not about you not being able to find this yourself. It's actually about you finding this yourself. But by being reminded through another who knows this and they have become it. That is how we work together. I do not have all of the skills. This is my medicine. Yet, there are areas in life that I fail at to what would be considered the ego mind. Because I require others' medicine to create a more holistic external experience. Because I have mastered my medicine, who I be, my authentic self. Yet I require to meet in the mastery of others. This is where we create a new world. This is where we create lasting change. This, my dear brothers and sisters, is the foundational constructs to a new paradigm. Because you and I are building the frameworks to the new earth now. Through the very process of you being human. Your life is the access to your medicine. And no one has your medicine, your ability, or your source connection. I love you. Ahava, God bless. I am very grateful to have come to this point of being able to be a conduit of truth and to speak in vibrational resonance with God and to listen deeper and deeper. If this resonates, please recognize that your mind, your separate mind, will tell you every reason not to reach out to me. Every reason that I am full of it. Every reason that you can't do it. Because that's what separation is designed to do. To keep you safe. Yet you're already doing it. And you can do it through the contrast of your human. Or you can invest in yourself, humanity, and my mission. And do it with more ease and grace. In a way that would make more sense. Because spirit is actually quite logical. Thank you. And God bless.